Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. Let's talk a little bit, very briefly, about Moses Itama because he scored another one round, 1 minute actually win over a guy called Michael Bolos, Boloz. This guy's from Poland, 34 years old. Came in with 5 wins, 5 KOs in the win column, although he's fought absolutely no one. He had 6 defeats, 2 by KO and 2 draws. He was completely and utterly outgunned. But in his last fight, he did go the distance with Marius Vac. He lost on points over 10. That's probably the that's probably the up and all of his career. I mean, the rest of the fights he's fought absolutely no one. A couple of guys with padded records, but he was just so out of his depth against Itama. And when Itama turned professional, a lot of people were saying, well, he's destined for greatness. He can beat Mike Tyson's record. He's 19, or he's 18, I think, when he turned pro. He's now 19. He can beat Mike Tyson's record of being the youngest heavyweight champion ever. And I was someone who was saying, well, hang on a minute. What's the point of that? He's Moses Itama. He's not Mike Tyson. There's no need to sort of fast track him unnecessarily. Now, having said that, I think we can up the quality of the opposition, to put it mildly. In fairness, Michael Bolos was a very late substitute because the original opponent pulled out. So you can only do what you can only do, and sometimes it's how you get your work done. And he was very impressive, very, very aggressive. Southpaw Moses came out, first punch he threw seemed to sort of sting Bolos, knocked him off balance. And when Moses sort of hunted him down, which this only lasted 60 seconds, he was firing punches left, right, and centre, and every one of them was landing. Bolos could put his hands up, try and defend himself. There was no escape. It was the old Joe Louis thing: you can run but you can't hide, and that's how it proved. And Moses stopped him. He floored him twice, I think. Was it twice? Am I imagining it? And in fairness, Bolos got up and he was like, "Oh, come on, I can carry on. What are you doing? What are you doing?" And, no, mate, you're going to get the crap beaten out of you. He had no way of resisting Moses Itama, only 19. I mean, Bolos 34. Itama's 19, and this was man against boy. It's just that the boy was the man and the man was the boy, if you know what I mean. But Moses, yeah, clearly he's a threat. I mean, I'd like to see him in with, for example, a Marius Vac, who's someone who's going to take him rounds at least. Bring in some of those guys who are very durable, but maybe on the slide. I suppose Kevin Johnson's, if he's still fighting, is Kevin Johnson still fighting? He might take him a few rounds. I think Moses, Moses is 7-0 now, and I think he's got, is it 5 KOs? I think it's 5 KOs now. He's got to have the rounds. He's got to have the rounds because at his age there is no hurry. But at the same time, you're not learning anything from 1-round knockouts. His last fight back in October was a 1-round knockout. Prior to that, I think he had another 1-round knockout in September. So, he's had probably about 5 minutes of fighting in the last 3 months against people who were never, ever going to be able to beat him. He's got to have the rounds. And a Marius Vac or a Kevin Johnson or someone like that is probably the person who's going to take him, maybe not the distance, but, I mean, he got taken 6 rounds by that fella Espindola, and then he also, that Konstantin Dovbyachenko, whatever the bloody hell his name was, the guy with the losing record, tough as hell. He got taken 6 rounds by him as well. Now, I think the Konstantin, whatever he's called, Dovbyachenko, his last fight was was it his last but one fight was against Matty Harris, and he knocked him out in 5 rounds. Matty Harris was undefeated. But that's the type of fight that you've got to be on the ball for. You can't just say, well, I'm going to, I'll go in there and I'll slap him around a bit. Dovbyachenko, Konstantin Dovbyachenko from Ukraine, he's got a losing record, but he's kind of like, a Kamil Sokolowski type. If you're not on your game, he'll beat you. And that's the type of guy we need. Bring him in, bring people like that in, get Moses some rounds under his belt, He's a very, very confident, talented young man. But, you know, he's going to need to learn that sometimes people can take your punishment and will throw back. And they will put pressure on you, and they will make you do things that you don't want to do in a boxing ring at a pace you don't want to go at. We need someone like that. Absolutely, obviously, no hurry whatsoever with Ituma. But if you keep feeding him pushover jobs, I just get the feeling he might get into some bad habits or get a bit stale maybe, or think it's all this easy. I want to see him taking rounds. By who? That's the golden question, you know, the $60,000 question. But you leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about Moses Ituma. Do you think he's being brought along correctly? Obviously, there's no hurry, but, you know, 7-0 at the moment, 5 KOs. Who would you like to see him in with to get him some rounds, to ask a few questions? Leave your comments below. As always, thank you for your time. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Much love to all of you. Appreciate your time, and I'll catch you later. Bye for now.